I dropped my hands at the last second.
Nice.
How's it going, everybody? Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Happy Thursday.
Greetings from sleep deprivation, Tennessee.
Zip code is 0000. No more energy left.
That's right.
Well, yes. You get the, when you're sleep deprived, you get manic energy, you get crazy energy,
I do? When does that happen?
It's like these certain, just hang in there. You'll see.
Okay. Oh, okay.
You can run and sleep at the same time.
I was just going to say, like, I am using my computer and my computer is charging at the same time. Why do we as humans not have the ability to go and also recharge at the same time? And I'm not talking to the people that are going to be like, well, brain science says that if you just close your eyes and breathe deeply. I know all the things. I have talked to my friends who have knowledge about sniper breathing school.
Half breath.
I want to know how I can recharge and be going at the same time. There's Justin. Hi, Justin.
Hey, Justin. How are you? Welcome. My whole system has done like a reset recently.
Oh.
This is fun. You notice our little name tags aren't oval, they're square.
Yeah. I knew there was something different, but I wasn't thinking what they were, what it were. What were the difference? It's funny. I'm going to do this in air quotes, as a French speaker.
Speaker of the bunch.
I think it's more Fringlish. Right? I am so aware that there are a lot of things that we say, our turns of phrases, or colloquialisms, or whatever the correct term is. Again, 00000 is my zip code right now. So today I learned the French equivalent to "there's a light at the end of the tunnel."
Oh.
But they don't say that. They have a whole different thing that they say. So there are all these fun little phrasey things that we say as
what do they say?
Native English speakers. Well, they say I see light at the end of the tunnel. Or I can see light at the end of the tunnel. Instead of "there's light at the end of the tunnel." It's more, so anyway, it's a subtle difference, but sometimes the phrases, and of course, I'm not able to think of any of them right now.
I thought you were going to have some crazy thing like there's a spoon suspended over the field.
Okay. So next time I will come with a French phrase. Like they wouldn't say it's raining cats and dogs.
Right.
Right. So they have something else that means torrential downpour, and I forget what it is. So I think this is really cool what's going on in the chat. So we have Renee in Ohio, who is my bestie, and Justin in Ohio, who is my brother, who are talking to each other because they met when we went to Ohio to rescue the dog. Yes.
How far apart are they?
Well, oh, look at you changing that up. Let's see. So I want to say that they were 2 hours and now they're 3 hours. So the difference between not naming a town and not naming a town is, I don't know.
Gotcha. Ohio buddies.
Ohio buddies. Yeah. Yeah. So, what are you reading, Lucas?
That is the funniest question you could have. Well, I knew you were going to ask me that question because we do this, this is one of the things we love to share. Yeah. However, last night I actually sat down and said, what am I reading right now?
Oh.
And I went, oh my gosh, what am I doing to myself? Because I had to get on Goodreads and update my what am I reading, status or whatever.
Yes. I didn't do that this morning.
It's crazy. I've done it again. I've taken too much off the TBR at once. So I'll keep this super brief because of that. So I'm
Okay, all
listening
right.
to The September House, which is a very creatively written fiction story about a woman who lives in a haunted house. And it's when I first saw how long this audiobook was, I was like, really? Like that's a pretty
How
long
long is
book.
it? How long is it? Oh, sorry.
821 minutes. So what is that? 9 hours, something like that.
Wow.
But holy smokes, is this a really good book? And it's very interesting the way she wrote it. It's all first person. So
Did you
you're
know
hearing
I'm interrupting you on purpose. Did you know on Goodreads your books do not show their book titles?
mine.
The Lucas Marino books do, but the LC Marino books just have the titles, but there's no book cover.
That must have just happened.
Oh, that they're showing up? Because I just put them in my want to read.
No, it must. The covers were all there yesterday.
Oh, well,
So I
maybe
don't
it's
know.
not populating for me. So now I'm following you. We should be friends.
Yeah, I can see my covers.
Okay. Well, when I put in LC Marino with a space in between the L and the C.
Oh,
So there's an LC Marino, space C space Marino, and then there's L period C period Marino, and the L period C period Marino. Those are showing up. So I'm going to want to read all of them.
interesting.
Interesting, right?
Look at this. There's something weird going on there. I'm gonna have to look into.
Well, it's doing all versions of your name. So anyway,
Right.
digress. So you are reading.
So listening to The September House.
Oh, sorry.
Why do people listen to audiobooks? Because I can't read while I drive. And I drive a lot because I've got the kids. So this is one of the reasons I control the TBRs through listening. And I love a good audiobook.
Me too.
Absolutely love them. Okay.
Me too.
I finished Suffer the Darkness, which was great, from Yolanda Sefsos. And now I'm reading Bad Blood from Tobin Elliott. And I'm also reading Lucid Dreams from Red Legault, and listening to my audiobook, which I just got all the files back.
Oh.
Yes. Now I do have a nonfiction read.
Would I be less scared if I listened to it?
Okay. Actually, it might be worse if Erica is so good.
Oh, right. Listening to
voice
someone else
actor,
be scared might make me scared. Okay, never mind.
She's so good.
All right. Well,
but anyways, I'll send you links. You can check out her samples for yourself and tell me if you'd rather listen.
All right.
Erica Calvert, by the way, is the narrator / voice actor who does my fiction, and she is just phenomenal. So anyways, the nonfiction I'm reading is an arc that happens to be associated with someone on this call. Yes, You Must Monetize is the nonfiction book in my life right now, and I was happy to be blessed with an advanced reader copy.
How far along are you?
Just started yesterday.
Okay.
Yep. So okay. I am early in the read. But
okay.
Your nonfiction books, and this isn't for anyone that's watching that hasn't read an honorary quarter book, you write so fluidly that I can read your books faster than I can a lot of other nonfiction books, because you're just such a natural voice, right?
Thank you.
So it won't take me a whole lot of time to get through this. Although every time I say that, we laugh because I'm like half the speed that you are at reading nonfiction.
I'm a reader. It's my job.
Yeah, my brain just chews and thinks and places and moves. It does all the things while I'm consuming a book. So anyways, that's what I'm reading right now. What are you reading?
Let's see. So I opened my Goodreads. So I got a copy of, well, I'm going to just put these up again because it's important, right? So I'll be reading this one and then this one, probably like on the porch in the sun.
That's a good idea.
So I'm not scared. probably have Byron and the dogs out there with me at the same time.
It's not so much scary as it is like heavy.
Okay.
I'll put it that way. It's creepy, but not scary.
Okay. Is it emotional heavy?
Yes.
All right. So I finished reading this week A Very Bad Thing, which is a book that's coming out by J.T. Ellison. I'm not sure when it's coming out, but I got an art copy of it, and it was awesome. And I know her, so I was texting. I was like, oh my God. And then this happened. So that was really fun. I got a copy of Creating Superfans by Brittany Hodak, which I've just read a very few pages. I had big dreams yesterday, Lucas. I had big dreams for my day. And I did. I had all the hope and the intention. Didn't happen. After I finish those, I have a couple of others. I'm 80% done with The Joy of Movement by Kelly McGonigal, so a nonfiction. And then I read the Daily Stoic, and I'm still reading Arate. I'm 83% of the way through that 1,000-page book. So that's going great. And then I have a bespoke book project that comes out in May. And so I'm working on that. So lots of reading.
Yeah.
But the dog and the husband in recovery has been interesting.
Yeah.
So we're just, I'm going to sleep someday. I think I said yesterday I'll sleep when I'm dead. And then I thought, well, if I don't sleep, I'll be dead.
It's going to be sooner rather than later.
It might be sooner rather than later. So I think I got I'm feeling a little more battery recharged today than I have been, although certainly not enough. I think you don't ever catch up, right? You just keep going. So I have big dreams for the weekend.
You're still having to carry Byron outdoors every couple of hours.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, he's able to function on his own now. The dog, Shadow the dog, he's doing so great. He's doing just so great. Just super. He can get up and down the stairs now, which was life-changing.
Yeah. Oh,
because in the rain, in the middle of the night with the lightning, I make it sound like it was so much fun.
Well, the lightning makes it sound fun.
Yeah. So I guess this happened last Thursday night. So Shadow got his surgery on Thursday. So I had a full tiring day with no real rest, not enough real rest anyway. So picked him up and then promptly realized that he's 81 pounds and needed to get him up and down the steps to the yard several times a day.
When people talk about like, oh, they move the body from here to there, I'm like,
I don't know. You have to have help.
Not quite.
You have to have help unless you have leverage, right?
It's not quite as easy as it looks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, he couldn't be a better patient. Takes his medicine. Very sweet. Also is smarter than all of us, I think, because we'll say, no, you can't get up on the couch. And so he waits until that fraction of a second when my back is turned.
Yeah. That's excellent.
Then he gets up on the couch and then we go, oh, you're not supposed to be on the couch. And he's like, I know.
Check me out. Here I am.
Check me out. Here I'm on the couch. But because his ACL was torn a long time ago, he's used to not using that leg. So he's actually starting to use that leg, but his primary hind leg is what he defaults to. So I think we're good. I think we're good there. But we still have jealous puppy number one. And then, of course, new puppy wants to be in my lap at all times. And so this is the first day, actually. I have a whole bunch of things on my desk. This is the first day I've actually been upstairs since last Thursday. Wow. I haven't come up to my office except to get something and go right back downstairs. And there's this whole, I told Byron, I was like, our house is like we have a baby. Because not supposed to be on the couch, not supposed to go up the stairs, not supposed to go in this room. So it's just been
Baby proofing.
it's been an interesting week in
Yeah.
every way. So I'm like, okay. I was like, make it stop. Can I just get off the merry-go-round? Can I just go over here and like have no emails and no text messages and no Voxers and but no.
Yeah. Well, just think you're compressing all of this into this one time period so that it's not spread out.
So nice. Thank you, Lucas.
Yeah.
Always
Yes.
the glass is half full. Thank you.
You're getting it
Yes.
all out of the way, right?
Yes. So I had promised you a list of things to talk about, and you picked one. What did you pick?
I did. How to identify your book's call to action, or CTA, for those that aren't familiar with call to
Yeah.
action being an acronym. And I was immediately jumped on this one when you sent it over because,
Okay. Pourquoi?
well, I think it's very easily overlooked. I see the same thing with course builders. I'm like, what exactly are you trying to get this thing to do? Right. And with the theme of this series being that your book has a job, or, your book means business, what do you want this thing to do? It's not as easy as saying, this is the role I want the book to play in my business, or this is the role I want this product to play in my business.
Yeah.
Then you actually have to design the book, the product, whatever,
Yep.
to do that. And
Right.
when it comes to the written word, you have to be very careful about how you identify the call to action you're going to embed in that document and then publish, because it's going to have a chance to speak on your behalf when you're not there to defend it. You can't defend or explain the CTA. You can't reinforce it. It is what you make it in a book.
Right.
Which is different than if you're a coach or consultant watching this and you have a standard CTA that you use in your presentations or webinars or services. You're prepared to discuss that with people in real time. But when it comes to your book, the power of the book is that it can do a lot of that for you without you having to be present. So I love that you brought the CTA into the conversation with the series this soon, because I feel like it was one of the things that when you explained it to me when I was working on Monetize Your Book with a Course, it was like, absolutely, this should be happening. Like, this is exactly what I should be thinking about, but I hadn't considered it beforehand, before that conversation. So love the topic.
Awesome. Well, the CTA is interesting because if you have a lead magnet on your website, the lead magnet is essentially what you're giving to someone in exchange for their email so that you can have an email conversation with them. But the CTA is that and so much more. There has to be some strategy and intention behind it, because if there isn't, then the author-reader relationship that you are starting with your book could end with your book.
Right.
If there's if you're just like, oh, well, I'll just throw in, a checklist or something. But if someone doesn't do the checklist, what do they lose? If they do the checklist, what do they win? What do they gain? If you're not thinking about it as, in addition to being a list builder, part of the customer experience of reading the book, a way to enhance the author-reader relationship, a catalyst for taking action for the reader outside of the book. It actually causes them to engage with your book and potentially you in a bigger way. So much goes into the CTA, or can go into the CTA, that has a ripple effect. So it either sinks to the bottom of the ocean and someone reads your book and they think, oh, I should do this someday. It's like business cards. I go to a networking event and someone gives me a business card and I mean to reach out to them and it's on my desk. And then I put it over on my credenza, right? It's over there. And then eventually I'm like, who the heck is Lucas Marino?
Yeah.
Right. And in the moment, I knew exactly who the person was. I knew exactly what I wanted to talk to them about or follow up with them about. And without proper notes and proper action, it doesn't happen. The same thing with your call to action. Without proper intention and strategy, your relationship with your reader starts and ends with your book and doesn't proceed. And what you really want is, in getting clear about what you want the reader to do with the information in your book, and what you want the right reader to do with the information in your book is the right reader is going to say, I could monetize my book with a course by figuring it out myself. With just this book. This is great information. I'm a do-it-yourselfer. My budget is $0. I'm going to do it myself. But if my budget isn't $0, if I have a little bit of a budget, I could take the Monetize Your Book with a course. And I know that because it's mentioned throughout the book, and some of the contents of the course are included in the book, but not fully. And then in the back of the book, there's a page that says, now you can get more. Monetize Your Book with a course, and go deeper. Alternatively, the right reader could say, Lucas, here's my American Express card. Make a course for me.
Right.
Or do everything I need to do outside of the magic that I bring to the course, which is my videos and that sort of thing. So turn me into someone who has a course, which is another revenue stream. Do everything, handle all of the little details for me, and tell me what I'm going to say in the videos and how many videos that I have to make, and top and tail them and make them look beautiful, and get on with your day.
Yeah. And you also made a really good point of helping me understand, like, you don't want too many calls to action, right? Like if you have too many CTAs, they'll do nothing. They don't know where to go because you're trying to send them everywhere at once. And you and I have done an episode. For those that are watching that aren't aware of what I'm talking about, I was really keen on using the book resources, or, as a call to action, just to get people over there to get a bunch of useful tools, templates, checklists, recommendations, all the things. But I didn't have to break all those out into 5 different recommended things. If you want checklists, go here. If you want a referred list of people to work with in software, go here. Like, by putting it all in one package and making the call to action very clear and simple and direct, it got people to the site. A, they got all those great things. B, they joined my email list. And then the conversation can start about whether they should enroll in a course, or if they should go get a work, all these things. And I really love that you differentiated that in the book for me, because it doesn't mean I can't mention the courses. It doesn't mean I can't mention the workbook.
No.
It's just that they have their specific place in the book. So in the body is one part of it, like in the text itself. And then in the back matter of the book, there's a whole nother section for CTA. So can you talk a little bit about putting CTA in the body of the text versus the back matter?
Sure. So when I talk about a tool, and I'll use You Must Market Your Book as an example because it just came out. Did I show this last week? Did I have this last week?
No, you didn't. No.
Okay. So in German, just got 6 copies. If you're a German speaker and you want one, or more specifically, if you're a German reader, you want one and you're in the US, just send me an email and I will send you a copy. And it would be so cool to hear what you think. When I used a tool, so let me open this up. I'm curious to see what they did. Oh, so cool. So they turned the book marketing matrix into a book marketing matrix, and it is in German.
Which is cool.
So I can't, oh, look, podcast in German.
The joys of inventing a word.
I am German. I am speaking German. Podcast. iBook, Kobo, all German. Did you understand me?
I did. Apparently we both speak German.
Yeah. So good. So when I talk about doing the book marketing matrix, I will say, get the book bonuses at the website, and then / and then book bonuses for that book, right? That allows me to say, I'm going to give you my example and a blank one for you to use, but I'm not saying URL / matrix, right? Because then I have to create all the URLs. In the interest of simplicity and ease, I have found that the easiest thing to do is to share the tools that you are educating your readers about in your book bonuses, and to just repeat that one URL throughout the book. So it's lucasmarino.com/course bonuses or something like that, right? Whatever that URL is. And then every time you give away a bonus, you're putting it in the book bonuses. And I'll go one more and just say, when you create book bonuses, don't send people to a URL to find the bonuses. I did that for my first 30 books or so. And then I was like, oh my gosh, if I keep writing books, I'm going to have to keep having book bonus pages over and over again. So I'll put all the bonuses on one page. And then it was like someone would go to the bonuses page and there's a lot of bonuses on there, which can be confusing. And in the interest of my sanity, I haven't gone back and edited that. But what I started doing a few years ago was with every book, if someone opted into the book bonuses, they would get that book's bonuses as an autoresponder email. So they sign up, they confirm their email, and then they get an email with all the bonuses in it, which allows me to update the bonuses because all I have to do is update the email. So they get that email, the bonuses are included in there. They can click on them. I can attach them as a PDF. I can link to a PDF in Dropbox, whatever your, pick your poison, right? Just make it simple and think really long-term about it. So you want the bonuses that are included in the book to be reference material for the reader.
Gotcha.
The call to actions in the back of the book, at least in my opinion, are for people to continue that relationship with you. What are the other ways they can continue the relationship? So for You Must Market Your Book, you can get I Must Market My Book workbook, where there's a picture of it, or you can buy Book Marketing Mastery, that course. And there's information about that or just all of the courses, right? So I just tend to opt to I have lots of courses. Go look at the courses and see what works best for you. If you want to do book marketing, obviously you want to find the course on book marketing. However, I learned from my friend Lucas about courses that you can bundle courses. And so talking about the bundle is actually better because a lot of times people say, oh, I want the bundle, and they realize, or they want a course and they realize, gosh, I could do so much better if I have the bundle. I would have a complete array of information. I could take the 100 course, the 200 course, and the 300 course and get them all together. And I'm not piecemealing. I have all this information at my fingertips right at the same time.
Saves the money.
Yes. And also,
yeah. I mean, if you're going to end up running down the full road anyways, save your money up front.
Well, and it's all part of my bossiness, right? You must write a book, you must market your book, and ultimately you must monetize your book. Or you don't have to do any of those things. Or you can just write it and then be disappointed with its performance, which is most likely what's going to happen if you don't market it. And you'll miss out on it fulfilling its potential if you don't monetize it.
Right. So I love that you brought up links. I love that you brought up this separation between putting references and links to things that aren't necessarily distracting or pulling away from the body in the body, right? Like, hey, if you want to learn more about this, go check this out. Like you were saying, like a reference. Yeah. It could be a reference to your own material. It could be a reference to some other material. It could be a reference to a completely different person and their work in that area that you respect. Yes. But I do want to point out the fact that you mentioned managing links in particular. And, that is a thing. Like when you put that link in that book, it stays there. You got to maintain that link in the digital world. So
you'll hear it if you don't.
Right.
Some people will try the link. It will not be successful. You'll never hear from them. From a fraction of people you will hear, I went and I tried to get this thing and the link was broken. Right. And then you have to figure out how to.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a responsibility there when you're building that into your text, that you are obligating yourself to maintain that link. Pretty much as long as you think that book's going to be in circulation and doing its job for you. So that's cool. And I want to ask your opinion about using things like Linktree links or books to read links instead of direct links to websites. So like if I'm going to put a CTA in my book and it's like, hey, you want to check out the rest of my catalog, go here. I guess the options are like point them to your website where you can list everything,
Yeah.
But people are really commonly using these Linktree links and all these things because it's really easy to share on social media. Do you recommend using those in your books?
I don't, because you don't own Linktree.
Right.
I would say to hesitate to point them anywhere you don't own, that you can't update later. If I point you to my website and Linktree goes away, I can say, visit my website for, as the hub for everything. And on that, I can say, here's a Linktree that'll take you for all the things.
Right.
But if Linktree goes away, if Instagram goes away, if Facebook goes away, if MySpace goes away,
Is it still there? I think it's still there.
I think it's still there. If Twitter becomes X,
Right.
so if you're sharing all of those links in print, you run a high risk. And I'm just wanting people to look at it. My hindsight is your foresight, right? So at the end of the day, the mistakes that I've made that I still get emails about, but you said this course was at this link and it's not there anymore. And it's like, you're right. Here's the link.
Right.
Also, my apologies, right? I didn't know then what I know now. So this is why I'm talking about it for anyone who's watching who hasn't written their book. When you put something in print, it's in print forever.
Right.
You can change the ebook, you can update the print files, and the new books will have the correct information in it, but the old books will not. And the old books are still discoverable, which is why you become an author in the first place. Why you share information in the first place is because it lives forever and it establishes you as an authority. So when you're crafting your book and you're thinking about what's my call to action, think about what could be possible in 10 years. What could be possible in 10 years is you're still going to have access to your website. You're still going to have your website. Now, once upon a time, I had a different last name, and my website was just thatlastname.com.
Oh.
Also a challenge. So, and I know there are lots of, specifically more with women. Women are more inclined to change their surname when they get married and get divorced. And so that is also something to consider. Right. So this is it. This is my name forever. We're not making a change. So even if Byron runs off,
into the woods
with in the woods or with a young Southern belle, right? I'm like, I'm not changing my name, and he can hear me. So just warning, this is it. So, but you want to think about that for the long term. A lot of times people ask me, do I do a URL that's my book title? Or do I use my name or my business name or whatever? And you have to think about, if I use my business name, will I ever sell my business? And if I sell my business, am I selling the assets of my business, including my book?
Right. Or am I directing people now to a business that I can't rep what they're doing. I can't, stand by the quality after I sell it, like all the things that you just don't have control over. And I wasn't expecting you to bring that point up, but I'm happy you did, because I've had friends that sold businesses and they weren't happy with what was happening with that business afterward. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
But their name is all over the front of that book. So that's a really good point that I hadn't considered.
Yes. So if 10 years from now, I'm still going to have honorecorder.com, and unless I'm dead, I will, or someone will have it. Someone will be like, I'll maintain it. Send me that cash money.
Here's the new bank account.
Yes. Here is the new routing, banking information. So looking 10 years into the future, and this is how I look at everything that I create now, is what's going to be happening 10 years from now. What's the platform I'm going to be using? What am I going to have control over? What would I be able to easily update? I'm easily able to update the contents of an autoresponder email, regardless of where it comes from.
Right.
So honorecorder.com is the same. Am I still going to be using ConvertKit? I don't know. Am I still going to be using Thinkific? I don't know. Hopefully they're both still around, and ConvertKit is easier for me to understand. So maybe 10 years from now, I'll be like a ConvertKit master, right? Be like, this is easy. Why did I think this was hard? And all of that, but I can control the autoresponder email and the contents of it. So when I took a minute to think through the long term, it's like, here is what I know is solid. Here's what I know is going to stay the same. Here's what could change. How do I work around that? And then what goes in it? And really, so we're talking about CTA, and I want to make sure that people understand that you can have one thing that's your CTA in your book, and you can provide one thing. You can have one checklist or one assessment, or one, I could have one thing, which is the book marketing matrix. And this is the bonus for this book. Be sure to get the bonus from this book at this URL with this autoresponder. Or you can have 3 things, or you can have 20 things. But if you have that many things, you want to also think about the reader's perspective and the reader's experience. And sometimes having too many things, the brain says, like, I don't want to do just one because it's going to feel incomplete. And humans are completion creatures, and some people are more completion than others. I have a course I've been going through for several weeks. It's still open on my browser.
I leave them open.
It's open. It's open. It's ready to go because I'm a completion creature, and I will not close it until I have completed the course. And so when I get the bonuses for a book, and it's the very first thing, the very first time I see it mentioned, I go and I opt into it and I have it sent to me, and then it's open until I have done those exercises, or at some point where I just, honor your loser, and then I close the tab, and then it haunts me for the rest of my life. It's fine. Everything's fine. You want to think about the customer experience, the reader experience. So how are they going to experience your bonuses? How many bonuses do you really need? And also, this could be helpful when you're crafting your book, when you're in the crafting and writing process. People want to go, I want people to get everything from my book. They can't get everything. So what are the 1, 2, 3 many, right? So probably 3 is good. 5 could be good. Bonuses in your book that are going to get them more of the way there, help them to solve their problem or to capitalize on their opportunity. And then the right person is going to say, I don't want to do all this stuff. So many times people read one of my books and I tell you what to do in the book, and they'll just call me and say, you need to do this.
Right. Which is, I mean, that to me is a great investment for both people. Yeah.
Yes. Which is one of the goals of the book, is to help people to solve their problem, or to let them know I can solve their problem for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So I wrote a couple of notes down because I love that you mentioned, like having one strong call to action. One of the big differences for me, I think, moving from writing in the nonfiction space to also writing in the fiction space, was that when you move to if you move between those spaces, so if anyone here is watching and they're thinking, well, this is great, but I want to write fiction, why does this even matter to me? You still need to you're still running a business. You still need to have in the back of your book, you still need to have a direction to the reader where they can find you, they can find the rest of your work, they can find places to do certain things in support of both their experience and your ability to provide them with more experiences in the future by feeding, because you do have a business, whether you want to or not. I know that on the art side, some people are like, oh, it's about art. It's not about the business, but then you got to sell the books, dude. So what I've kind of learned with the fiction side was that there was less tolerance for more CTAs. It was like, hey, direct them straight to your website and or reviews. And that is basically it, right? There you go. So I put a CTA in the back of book 1 that points to the prequel, because they might read the first book in the series and go, oh, I didn't know there was a prequel to this. But
yeah. But that will change, right? Won't you change it at some point? You'll update Bury the Child, because Bury the Child didn't have. Sure. You didn't have this book yet. So at some point, perhaps this will be updated to have Burn the Girls in it, and Burn the Girls will have, you're going to read the second book in the series. And when the series is complete, then you'll have a page with all of the books in it. Exactly. There's so many different ways, but as a fiction author, so I have my CTA in the back of the monetized books are the courses. Right. That go with it. And it's 2 pages of courses. Yep. And that's the end. And those are relevant courses to your reader. They're not just like
all the courses. They're like specific
No,
to those
they're not all
people.
my courses by a long
Yeah.
shot, but they are the courses that are specific to the reader in this particular book. When it
Perfect.
comes to fiction, the people that I am modeling my future fiction career after are the fiction authors that do author-reader relationship exceptionally well,
Right.
because you want a super fan. A super fan is someone who will buy whatever you're selling,
Mm.
even if it doesn't pertain to them. I have a German reader from probably more than 10 years ago, before I had books in German. Whenever I have a new book, I form an advanced reader team, and it's partially formed off of all of the advanced readers from all of my previous books. And I've written in different on different subjects and different subject verticals. And so I'll send an email out to the big advanced reader team and say, thank you for reading a previous advanced copy of one of my books. This is my next book. Would you like to be on this advanced reader team? And knowing that, and we've talked about this very specifically, about you want on your advanced reader team to only have people that are your ideal reader for that book. It's not an everyone call, right? It's not a cattle call for anybody who wants to do it. It's a very specific ask. And one of my readers said, it was a book about divorce, and he said, I'm happily married, I'm never getting a divorce, but I love your books. Can I be on your advanced reader team? And I said, absolutely. You just can't buy and review the book.
Right.
For
You
at
messed
least
up my
6
algorithm.
months.
Yeah.
Stay away from my algorithms, buddy, but you absolutely can do it. And that's a super fan. A super fan is someone who will buy whatever you're selling. When it comes to fiction and nonfiction are very different animals. The fundamentals are the same. Quality book, editing, proofreading, graphic design, copywriting, all those things, the fundamentals are the same. The execution of building your author career is very different. And the people that I admire, the people that I model after my business after, modeling my business after, right now I'm doing more thinking than inking.
Right.
But I still follow the people who do the author-reader relationship very well. They are engaged with their fans. They understand the power of word of mouth. I don't know Colleen Hoover. She's known as Coho.
Yep.
Right, by her readers. She has had in the past, I haven't looked recently, multiple books in the top 10 of the New York Times bestseller list, indie and traditionally published. She's a beast.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a very intense word of mouth because of her writing. Her writing is very powerful for her readers. And when I learned about the book Verity, have you read Verity, Lucas?
No, but Tammy's read all of her books, and she's like, that's the one that stands out the most.
Yeah. So I would recommend that you read Verity in your free time someday. But Verity has two camps of readers that argue with each other.
Oh.
The resolution at the end of the book, and Tammy would know what I'm talking about. It's like some people will say, well, I believe it. And other people are like, no, that's a lie. That was a lie that the character is telling. So some people are team, yes, I believe her. And other people are like, no, I'm team, she's full of it. Right. And so it was this whole thing of the book had been out for some time when I got myself on the list at the library to pick up the book. And I think I was like, I don't know, 45th in line. They had 7 copies. That many people in my little county on earth, right, wanted to read this book. And so when I went and picked up the book, I just was like, oh, I'm just going to crack it open at 5. So I went and picked it up at 4:45, and I remember the specific, I was on the couch at 5. And I remember at some point Byron saying something to me, and I was like, just a minute. And at 9 o'clock, I finished the book, and I was back at the library when it opened the next morning. I understood why I had moved so quickly from 45th to 1st so I could pick up the book.
Wow.
And I went back in, and the librarians were like, was it that good? And I was like, you got to read it. It just grabs you. It's exactly what you want out of a suspenseful thriller.
Wow.
It's for it to just grab you. But also when people were like, well, what should I read? I'm like, you got to read Verity. And here I am. I think it's been a year and a half or so since I read it. Here I am saying, you still have to read Verity. Another book like that for me was Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris, a thriller writer. And these authors also do building their author community very well. You want your first 100 readers and you want your 1,000 true fans. You want the people that just think that what you do or what you write or what you produce is the thing that they need. Or as one of my clients, every time I talk to him, I call him up. He's been a client of mine for 10 years. And when I call him, he goes, "Where have you been all my life?" He's just a super fan, right? He's just like, I still talk about you. I still do things that when we were coaching together, I still work on those things. And that's what your CTA will allow them to do, is they will know where to go next. So if you are a fiction writer, do your readers a favor and tell them about your life, because I want to know about the lives of my favorite authors.
Right.
What are their animals' names? What kind of animals do they have? And it's so interesting because someone sent me a book that was set in my hometown of Athens, Ohio, for the first couple of chapters and then moved to Nashville.
Oh, look at that.
And this woman, I don't know how she found me. I haven't circled back with her because I haven't finished reading the book yet. It's open. I have the ARC on my phone. But I will have to figure out how she went from my hometown to my new hometown-ish, right? Because I live outside of Nashville. How that all came to be, because that's a parallel thing. It's very interesting. So now I have a reason to get to know that author. Well, when you as an author say, I served for 22 years in the Coast Guard, I went in as enlisted, I retired as an officer, I live, Metro Williamsburg, I have 3 kids, I have a dog that's a pit, right? Like you have things about you that you're an engineer. You have things about you that are interesting. You're a course expert, but you also write fiction, scary fiction. But it's things that are interesting to your readers. And your readers, when I was, until I became an author, really, I didn't really think that authors were people you could ever get to know. They were in this other
I can see that
world, right?
Yeah.
And then when I realized that Robin Sharma, who wrote The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, was like still an author that was alive and young enough that I could sometime talk to him, I was like, what? That's so cool. And that I could get on the email list. So I subscribed to several authors' email lists just to see what they're talking about. And most of the time, it is not really about their books at all. They mention, oh, and by the way, I have this new book coming up, or I published this book, or I finished this book. But really, I took the kids or the dogs to the shore or to the beach for spring break, et cetera, et cetera. So in fiction, also in nonfiction, letting your readers have a line of sight to who you are as a person is very helpful when it comes to your CTA.
Gotcha.
Including you and your personal self as much as you feel comfortable sharing. As I am a private person, so as much as I share, there is 10 times that I just don't share publicly in my newsletter, but I do share a lot of things. And it's interesting because in my weekly newsletter recap, so I have a daily newsletter and some people only get that on Saturday, I've had enough people asking about the dog that I have a Shadow update in the newsletter. Just tell me about Shadow. How's Shadow doing? And so it's an interesting thing, because I wouldn't think that would be interesting to people, except that JT shares about her cats and she lost one of her cats last year, and how that was helpful in her. And so that's in her author notes of her book too. It's like, what happened, what was going on personally as she was being effective in her professional life, all that kind of stuff. So all of that to say is you get to decide when you're putting things together, how much you want to share, how, and allowing people to get to know you a little bit more makes them feel like they do know you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's true. I mean, and to your point, the more you can do that in one place, the more concentrated your CTA can be, and the easier it is to kind of manage all of that. And that's hard to do. I mean, because sometimes we start wide and get narrow.
Yes.
And it can be hard when you're writing your book at that point in time. Are you everywhere you got to kind of pick where you want to direct people without trying to send them to 4, 5, 6 different places. It's different if you want to share different products with them. But all roads should lead to your site. If you don't have a good answer for anything else, like you said, your website, because it's what you own and manage.
Right.
And who knows if those other things are going to be around. And I feel like, at least in the fiction space, it's starting to, well, maybe not starting to catch up, but it's starting to align more with the nonfiction author careers, where people are managing their accounts on their sites a little bit more than they perhaps used to.
Yeah.
Although some of the interactive elements, like you were mentioning, there's certain authors who have a lot of like direct customer interaction and engagement. They're using different platforms for the technology to help facilitate that, like Discord rooms or Ream for fiction. And they're trying to use that for essentially what is community building. And so I think there's also a more modern problem than maybe it was 30 years ago.
Right.
And it's not a problem. It's just something you have to really think about. Is like, if I'm going to send people to one place to interact with me the most, where is that? Am I going to send them to my community? Am I going to send them to my Facebook group? Am I going to send them to my website? I still think in all cases, it's best, probably, unless you have a really strong argument to not do this, it's probably best to send them to your website and then farm them out from there if you need to.
Yeah, because you just don't own anything else.
Yep. I mean, Facebook could close your group down for something and you don't have
or
control
your page or your access.
Yep.
I mean, legitimately own two things: your email list and your website. Those are the two things you own, and any intellectual property that you publish.
Right.
But maybe it's a conversation for another day, but it's like, should we publish wide or should we publish monogamous to one platform? Amazon being the logical choice, but does that make sense? Why or why not? And how do you think through that? And there are people who will die on one hill or the other, and there isn't one choice.
Right.
There are two choices. You either are monogamous to a platform or you publish wide. And why or why not? It depends on the strategy of the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm doing a custom book for someone, we don't actually publish it anywhere. It's not available anywhere. It's only available directly from the author, and they don't sell it. They give it away because it has a specific job. So when you think about it from a strategic perspective, you got to pull the lens all the way back. Think 10 years from now. Think about what you can control now and what you will control 10 years from now, at least. And then you can make an informed decision. It's not just, I've written my book, I'm just going to publish it on Amazon as an ebook and be monogamous to Amazon and see what happens.
Right.
Right. There's so much more. There's so much more that goes into it. And it's fun to think through all of those things, especially when you have all that information available.
Bringing up the Amazon topic is so fascinating, because when I did the call to action in the back of Bury or Burn the Girls, I specifically did list the name of Bury the Child and put the cover so people could see it and know what to look for.
Yes.
But it didn't point them to a specific site to get it, because people get their books all over the place. And who knows, they may have bought that paperback from me at a conference, or they may have gotten it from a cousin or something.
That's right.
You never know. And if I've noticed, and most people who are on Amazon have noticed that, as much as I love and depend on and enjoy my relationship with Amazon, I don't have control over a lot of the restrictions on my author page, for example, on Amazon. So if I'm going to have a call to action, I'm probably not going to use like directing them to my Amazon author page, just because it can't take them anywhere else. I can't take them to magazine publications that aren't listed there. I can't take them to anthologies that aren't listed there. I can't take them to my own short stories that I sell only on a website or something like that, if that's your gig. So yeah, that's a really great thing to note. And I really do think we should do an episode on that, because I do my nonfiction wide and my fiction not wide.
Okay. Well, but you have reasons for it, and you have information in, and you have been very strategic
Yep.
about what it is that you're doing and why. And so, yeah,
Yep.
let's talk about that in a future episode for sure.
There you go, guys.
Does anyone who is watching have a question or a comment regarding this topic or any other topic?
Yeah.
I can't see anything. I can't see Facebook or LinkedIn or anything. So
Yeah, I can only see. Well, let me pop the window open over here. So I can see the chat. Shout out to the engineers from YouTube coming over from Renee.
yes, Renee,
Always
I'll try to call you later for an update.
so awesome with that.
Yep.
While I'm looking at
Yeah.
LinkedIn real quick,
Yeah.
do you want to tell people a little bit about what you've got going on with the monetized book?
Yep. So You Must Monetize Your Book is coming out next Monday. It is the book companion to the course that's been out a long time. Don't judge me. Building $1 million book business. So that is coming out on Monday. And then the workbook will be out sometime hence. Because, hashtag country living, hashtag rescued a dog. Normally, I like to and advise that people publish a book, a workbook, and a course simultaneous. Well, the course has been out for 5 years. The book is just coming out, and the workbook will come someday. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I'm excited about this book, and also it will be in German in a year. So,
and this book covers from my familiarity with your course,
yes.
It was almost funny because I was like, oh, I didn't realize you hadn't published a book on this specific approach. Can you talk a little bit about what you include in this book that's not in your previous publications?
Yes. So this is specifically about how to turn your book into multiple income streams. And there are a dozen listed main topics that can be repurposed into several different options. And what I mean by that is I talk about coaching, but coaching isn't just one-on-one coaching, it's group coaching, it's institutional or corporate coaching. And I talk about each one of the income streams that I personally have built and how to think about not only building an income stream, like sometimes people want the money, but they don't want to put in the time. So they'll sell a product or a service that is service as a product kind of thing. And then they get the money and then their urgency to deliver the product goes down because they got what they wanted, but the customer won't, right? So it's thinking about, are you willing to put in the effort to build the income stream, the time that it takes to build the income stream based on how much time you have available, how much money you have available, to market, how much passion and energy you have around a particular income stream. Because just because you could do something, I've suggested things to people before and they're like, wow, that sounds like a great thing. It sounds like it would be a great moneymaker. And I just don't want to do it. I'm just not interested in doing it. And so all of those things have to be congruent and there's a lot to consider. So I come at it from what to consider before you choose an income stream, dozens, a dozen main income streams, which could be dozens of income streams to choose from and what it takes to put them in place. And then other things to consider, like, how do you feel about sales and selling? Right? Oh, that. Right.
Yeah. Are you happy with maintaining an email newsletter for at least a year? Are you happy? Like what are you really obligating yourself to
That's
if you choose that path?
That's right. So just all the different income streams, and speaking from the ones that I specifically have built into big income streams, because that's really what I think people want and what they want to learn about from me. And it's not a long read. It's under 35,000 words. I specifically made it very meaty. You are not sitting down and eating cotton candy at the fair. You are eating a steak dinner, right? With the book. Like I'm giving you steak and potatoes. There's a lot there. So some people go, but your book is so short. It's like, well, it's dense. Right. It's something you can read and then come back to and read again and again and use as a reference guide. And that's my purpose, right? I want to change everybody's life in 3 hours.
I love it. All right. Well, we're at the top of the hour, guys. We're going to go ahead and wrap up the show here. Make sure you guys check out the Empire Builders Masterclass.com. We talked about course bundles here and how you can use a course bundle to kind of cut your costs and cut your product development cycle, your learning curve, all the things. And we have an amazing bundle there called the Author Success Bundle, which is a collection of 3 courses that Honore has been developing and adjusting and modernizing over all these years, and they're fantastic. So highly recommend you guys go check out the Author Success Bundle at the Empire Builders Masterclass and get on that order for the Monetize. You must monetize your book next week, Monday, launch. Love it.
Yes.
It's going to be great. So I'm going to refrain from sharing my thoughts on the book until after Monday.
All right. Well, maybe we'll just talk about it next week.
That's right.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks for everything. And Honore, thank you so much for sharing your
Lucas.
insight with us as always.
Thank you, Lucas. Thanks, everybody.